This week's tip was suggested by Diana, and it is about how to knit backwards. And knitting backwards is something you can always do. There are various times you might want to try it, particularly if you do a lot of entrelac. If you're doing entrelac, you're only usually working on a few stitches, and the constant turning can be a bit tedious. Also, if you do stranded work flat, like I do, it can be beneficial knitting backwards because you can see your chart and you don't have to read your chart from the opposite direction, which often causes some difficulties in the design. Now, I've never been taught formally how to knit backwards, and so I am going to show you how I do it. There might be better ways, and I have only done this rarely. It's not difficult. Like any knitting technique, if you practice it and make it your own, it gets more comfortable. Now, what I always have to do when I haven't done this for a while is to position my needle as if I'm going to purl. So if I'm going to purl, I'm going to be inserting my needle in the back from the purlwise into the stitch, and I'm going to be placing the yarn this way, going around the needle. Now, what I do when I haven't done this for a while is for the first stitch, I position it so that I don't get confused about which way the needle is going. And from that point on, it's pretty easy. You wrap, okay, and pull the stitch off. Now what you want to remember is that you want the left needle behind. I'm going to insert it from behind, purlwise, put the yarn over the needle, pull off the stitch. Behind, pull off the needle, work the stitch. Now it is possible if you have some shaping or something to do on that row, you can do that as well. But if you have problems remembering it, you can always flip it over to reorient yourself. So to make it simple and to summarize, left needle, purlwise and behind, throw the yarn around the needle and pull it off. Behind, and you can see that this can get you into a rhythm. Now, I've known knitters who do this to improve their tension as well, since many knitters have difficulties on the purl rows maintaining even tension by the way that they're throwing their yarn. Knitting backwards can help them. And I am not a continental knitter, but I imagine, let's see if that, yeah, you can see how clumsy I am at continental knitting, so I'm not even going to try that. If you're a continental knitter, you're on your own there. You know how you position the yarn. But the thing is to remember is that it is behind and around. And now I am on my right side, and so I can knit. I don't need to change my position. Flip it over. And again, if you're working on just a few stitches or you're trying to follow a chart where if on right side rows you're reading it from right to left and on wrong side rows you're reading it from left to right, you can get confused. And you can see my tension is fairly even here, even though I don't do this very often. Again, my left needle, I want to insert it from behind and go around. Slip the stitch off. First one is always a bit tricky, and this is now curling up on me. Behind, wrap. And again, if you're doing this and you forget where you're at, as I say, I always just position my needle for the first stitch, and then that reminds me of how it's got to go. Whoops. And if you get it wrong, say you bring it around that way, what you're going to get is a stitch that is not positioned correctly. So it's the same as wrapping it the wrong way. Gotta get that in the right way. It's the same as wrapping a stitch the wrong way when you're purling or knitting regularly. So there you go. And you can see I have not done this in years. Literally years, and see how easily you fall into it. You just get in a pattern. In fact, I'm doing a stranded sweater for the next issue of Cast On, and maybe I'll try doing my purl rows this way. And there you have it, knitting backwards.